Hello and welcome to Tricks of the S-Trade channel. Today is the 2nd of August 2017, and today's feature we are featuring a so-called dude called Skrillex. Now Skrillex happens to be a producer. I've heard about Skrillex for a very long time, but while making the video The Myth of Whiteness, which we're on I think this is the part, if I believe this should be the part 5. Pardon me if I'm wrong. And I just got to find out that Skrillex, because when I was doing the transvestigation on, I think, Sean Friday, who happens to be Demi Moore's so-called boyfriend, which is actually a girl, and I found out that him and or she and Skrillex were running the serum circles. And as I said on the Myth of Whiteness, I think the part 4, I now said that I'm gonna take a look and make sure that Skrillex is not what I think she is. But so here we are. So if it's your first time on our channel, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. And if it's your first time watching a video, I want you to pause this video right here. All right, I want you to go watch the primer video before you watch this video. If you do not watch the primer video, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is not going to make any sense to you at all. You're going to be asking too many questions, which I may have already answered, and you might be going around in circles trying to understand what this whole idea of transgenderism is all about. So let me point you to the video that you ought to watch before you continue watching this video. So this is the primer video. It's going to be the oldest video on this channel. I've actually also created a playlist for it, so you can actually go look for the playlist and you see a primer. So also, if you're solely interested in transvestigation, because even though we feature a lot of transgenders on our channel, the channel is not about transgenders. It's about making you understand your world, connecting the dots of the things that's happening around you, so you know why it's happening. Because people don't understand that everything around you is happens for a reason, and all these events are connected. Because, for example, someone might say, okay, there are transgenders, there's homosexuals, there's this and that and all that. How does it affect me? And so because they say it, because they can't seem to see that it affects them, right? Let's say right at that spot, so they just think it doesn't really matter. But everything around that's happening in your world affects you. So let me give you a typical example. Let's say if you don't drink water, right? You wake up every morning and you don't drink water, and you haven't drunk water for 3 days. You've been eating and doing everything. The water that you did not drink sooner or later catches up to you. That's just how things are designed in this world. So everything around you matters. It's connected to you, whether you like it or not, because you are the center of attention. Everything is happening because of you. Does it make sense? Because human beings are the greatest assets in the world. So every event that's happening around in the world is happening because of you. If you were not here, it would not be happening. So that's how you have to understand that everything affects you. So for example, let me just give you another typical example. Let's say you're in your house and you see a fire, all right, engulfing your neighbor's house. You just can't sit down and say, well, it's my neighbor's house, it's not gonna it doesn't bother me. Who knows? Sooner or later, the fire might catch up to you. So that's how an event that you think is not is not affecting you directly can affect you indirectly. So you have to pay attention. So this is the primer video. Like I said, I've just clicked on it just to show you what it looks like. You have to watch the primer video before you can continue watching any video if it's your first time on our channel. And also, like I was trying to say, if you're solely interested in transvestigation, because I talk about a lot of stuff on videos, and the only thing that people get or have the only thing that they can tend to remember, all right, is that I talked about transgenders. That's the only part they catch. And it's so sad because if the only thing you can catch is about trying to figure out if somebody is a man or woman, then that's the basis, that's the lowest level of knowledge you can ever come to attain. Because you have to understand that anybody that's born into this world is born through a woman. So this should be basic knowledge. It shouldn't be something that should be sounding so difficult. It's not rocket science. So you shouldn't base your attention so much on the transgenders in this world, because they are not really the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the Vatican, like I keep exposing on every video, that the Vatican is the ones behind taking of young children, right? Forcing these children to live in a sex and gender that's not the sex and gender that they were born with, thereby making them products, ready products that they can use. And that the Vatican is the one who's running the world, the whole entire world, right? The system of governments. And they are run all by the devil, because the Vatican, right, gets its orders from demons and devils, from Satan himself. So that's what you have to understand, that the Vatican is the one behind everything. They have the surrogacy centers, the organization, the hospitals, to make sure that the taking of young children as a business is thriving for their own selfish use. If you keep on watching a lot of videos on this channel, you come to understand it. So also there is a document that's attached to every video that we make. It's called this is still for the people who are solely interested in trans investigation, because I want everybody to be able to do it. It's not rocket science. It's very simple. So on every video that we make, there is a link. When you click on this link, like I'm hovering right now with my mouse, it's going to take you to this document. It's going to say male versus female visual differences. It will take you just 30 minutes to go through the document. It just has a lot of pages. All right, sorry, it just has a lot of pictures. Sorry to say, it's about 44 pages, but it has a lot of pictures. So once you go through it, I guarantee you in a day or two, you'll be able to do a trans investigation on your own without needing my help. All right. So that's just what I wanted to show you guys before you keep watching the video. So please watch the primer video, pause the video, watch the primer video. If you've never watched it, then come back and continue watching this video. And for anybody who's watching, this is the myth of whiteness part 5. So in order for you to watch this video, this particular video, there's 7 other videos you would have to watch before that, and I will let me show you the videos that you have to watch. So the first video in the series that you would have need to watch is the Shakira transgender transsexual Vatican runs racism and hates the Bible. This is the first video you have to watch in this series for you to get up to speed on this part 5, because you're not just gonna jump on part 5 and understand anything I've said, because I'm not gonna be repeating what I've already said in the other videos. All right, so you need to watch this Shakira transgender transsexual Vatican runs racism and hates the Bible. That's the first video in the series you need to watch. Then the next video you have to watch will be the Michelle Obama transgender transsexual, the myth of whiteness. I've created a playlist for it. If you can go to the channel, just look for the myth of whiteness playlist, and you can go through it. It will just lock all the videos and just run it through for you. Then you need to watch the Michelle Obama transgender transsexual. Then the next video you need to watch will be the Derek Hugh transgender transsexual myth of whiteness part 2 right here. Then you need to watch the Derek Hugh transgender transsexual myth of whiteness part 3. And then you need to watch the Sean Friday Demi Moore abuse transgender transsexual myth of whiteness part 4 before you can come back and watch this particular one, which is the part 5. Now, as usual, I always like to put up warnings on the videos. The first warning is this: if you're a racist or you're prejudiced wrongly, okay, I need you to pause this video right here, because I'm going to show you an example of someone who would sit through, because the videos on myth of whiteness are pretty long. They average about 2 hours and sometimes maybe 40 minutes. And someone can sit through the length of that whole entire video. If he's prejudiced and racist, after I've told him, if you're prejudiced and racist, then don't just pause the video, just quit, because you're gonna get your feelings hurt. The next warning I like to put up is, if you do not like truth, Because sometimes I can't blame anybody, because sometimes some truth is just too difficult to bear. All right, it's too hard on you. Just pause the video and just quit. Don't sit through a long video and hurt yourself and then leave unnecessary comments. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Then the third warning I have to put up is that on this channel there are channel rules in effect. If you're going to label someone a transgender, you have to provide facts centered about the female skeletal structure, which differentiates a female from a male. Because a woman is designed to give birth, her hips are below her crotch, she has an arch in her back, she has a wide pubic arch, and her pelvis is tilted forward so she can carry the baby. Alright? So if you're going to start your comments and label someone a transgender, you have to provide facts on this channel. It's not like any other channel. Like I've said before, we are not here for the number of subscribers. It doesn't really matter. We are here for people who can put their brain to work. Alright? So before you label someone a transgender, if your comments do not include what I just mentioned earlier, and your comments start with stuff like index fingers or ring fingers longer, long arms, long torso, long legs, jaw or chin line way too strong, Adonis belts, and all that crazy stuff that the Vatican has made people to be confused with about how to spot the difference between a male or a female. Your comment is going to be deleted or you're going to be blocked. So that is the warning. Now, before I go on further, most people misunderstand me. Okay, they think maybe I'm condescending. For example, I'm talking about there's a sub on a channel called Carol Miranda who asked me a question, and sometimes they get their feelings into. I mean, this is the way I'm gonna put it. If you're trying to learn something, you have to put your feelings out of the way. Okay? If you're trying to learn, you just have to put your feelings out of the way. Because if you're so worried about how you feel and how so if you expect someone to be nice to you, all right, when you're trying to learn something, you're learning the wrong way. Because let's take, for example, I'm not saying anybody is a student on this channel, I'm just giving a typical example. If you're trying to learn something and your teacher tells you something, all right, you ought to accept it and get your feelings out of the way, because you're trying to know, because you do not know. You're not in a position to get your feelings in the way when you're trying to learn. So for example, sometimes I answer questions and people think that I'm condescending or I'm rude, I'm arrogant. I'm just blunt, because I don't know how to. I'm the kind of person who doesn't know how to I don't know how to play with words. I just say it like it is. That's just the way I am. Right? So sometimes people think I'm condescending. I'm not in any way. I'm not arrogant. I'm none of that. Okay? So I don't want people to misunderstand me in any way, shape, or form. Because the whole idea of this channel was to make people to put their brains to work. Because what am I saying? I'm going to quote the words of one of the greatest people in the game of wisdom. His name is King Solomon. You probably heard of him. Or let me pronounce it right, because the name Solomon is actually pronounced wrongly in the Hebrew. It should be King Shlomo. So I'm going to call him King Shlomo. You guys know him as Solomon, right? I'm trying to pronounce the Hebrew right. So King Shlomo said, I think in the book of Proverbs, he said, get wisdom. In all you're getting, get understanding. What am I saying? So when you guys watch a video and I say, look with your eyes, but see with your brain. Knowledge comes from looking with your eyes. All right? But when you're actually understanding and seeing things, it's your brain that makes you understand what you're looking at. So if you look at, like you're looking at my screen right now, somebody's gonna look at this screen all day and never actually see what's in the screen. Because what I am putting up here, like the website and these links and words, mean something, but they'll never see it because they're just looking. So when you want to understand something, you have to put your brain to work. You have to reason stuff out, because it's more like someone. See, there's a theory that goes that if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. With any body part of yours, if you don't use your arms are gonna fade away. It's the same thing with your brain. If you don't put your brain to work and let those neurons and synapses in your brain fire, you won't understand anything. You're gonna be dumb. So when I say, all right, look with your eyes and see with your brain, get the knowledge. You're getting knowledge by looking at stuff. But if you don't get understanding, all what you're looking at will not make any sense. The understanding would only come when you put your brain to work and you start reasoning stuff through. You start reasoning what you're looking at. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm condescending or any type of way. The whole idea of the channel was to make people think. Do your own investigation. Put your mind to work. Don't lose your brain. Because the Vatican is counting on that you guys are just going to be looking and not seeing. That's why they've been able to get away with all what they've been doing. That's why the devil's been able to get away with all what he's been doing. Because, for example, if Eve in the Garden of Eden wasn't just looking, all right, but understanding and seeing, she would have seen what, okay, Satan was trying to do. So please put your brain to work. Think about stuff before you say it. Think about stuff before you ask. Does it make sense? Okay? Please do that. And then I'm just gonna ramble on some stuff here and there before I touch on the subject that I wanted to talk, and then the feature. All right, so bear with me and let me collect my thoughts for a minute and then go on. So the first thing I want to show you guys is I'm on Skrillex. Skrillex is the feature that we have today on our channel. We're gonna find out if Skrillex is actually the gender that he claims that he is. But before I read up on, before I get into Skrillex, sorry, I just want to read something from his wiki page, okay? I'm on Skrillex wiki page, as you can see here. You can go look it up yourself. And I want you guys to note something about his early life. He says, Skrillex is known as, I think, John Moore. Let me be sure I'm calling the name right. Sonny John Moore. That's his name. Skrillex, Sonny John Moore. Right. Now it says here that Moore was born in the Highland Park neighborhood of Northeast Los Angeles, but moved to the Forest Hill neighborhood of San Francisco at the age of 2, where he attended elementary school. At the ages of 9 and 10, Moore attended a local boarding school located in the Mojave Desert, LV, but eventually moved back to Northern California. Both his parents were Scientologists. Now, I have a video here which I have shown that Scientology is just another arm of the Vatican. All right, you can go look for it. I don't actually remember the name of the video right here, but if you look for it on the playlist, I think you'll find it. Now, before I move further, I want to thank Angie Coates especially for what I'm going to read to you guys. Angie Coates is one of our great subs. She always leaves like great, wonderful information that's blessed us all, right? So I want to read something that Angie Coates talked about, because this reminds me of something that she said. Angie Coates, I just want to say thank you again, and thank you so much. So I'm going to read what she left in a comment. It will help you if you're trying to figure out stuff and just trying to understand something. Now, Angie Coates wrote this from a perspective in the fact that she has first-hand knowledge about, the so-called false New Age religion of Christianity, like Scientologists, and the New Age one like the Church of Mormon. So the reason why I'm reading this is because if you notice that they said that both his parents are Scientologists, right? By the time he was 12, his family moved back to his birthplace of Northeast Los Angeles. So that means they raised him, we could just call him the him for now. They raised him in the Mojave Desert. Then when he was 12, they moved him back to Northeast Los Angeles. Now, this was something similar with another transgender that we had transvestigated on our channel, which was called Derek. Derek happens to be on the Myth of Whiteness series. So when you watch the Myth of Whiteness part 2 and part 3, you find Derek Hugh on there. So this is what um, Angie Coulter wrote. She said, I'm just going to read it so you guys can follow along. She said, something significant about Derek's upbringing that backs your continual exposure of the powers behind the scenes. You may or may not know that the Mormon Church is one of the Freemasons' most successful set-up religions. Not that they infiltrated, but they set up as a bogus Christian church. If Derek's parents were devout Mormons, they would have worn the symbols of the compass and square sewn into their undergarments and sworn blood oaths not to divulge the meaning of these symbols or the special signs. Symbols, token, and secret handshakes taught to them. One of the most serious covenants made in the secret ceremonies, okay, involving consecrating and devoting everything you have or will have, all your talents, money, and possessions, including your own life and the lives of your children, to the building of their kingdom, which you are initially told is the kingdom of God. What they don't know is that it is the kingdom of Lucifer. It is not even Christian, which it falsely professes to be. My point here is that if his parents were asked to devote Derek to the cause as a prepubescent boy, to make what they will of him, they would have done it as an act of obedience to the sacred Masonic covenants, and they would have been possibly even viewed it as an honorable sacrifice. So it is no stretch for him then to be sent to Rome for 10 years. Who sends a 10-year-old boy away like that for that period of time? So what you notice here is a trend, according from if you just follow what I just read, with what you find on this web page on Skrillex. All right, they moved him, or they moved her. We just call it a him for now. When he was 2 years old, he was born in San Francisco. All right. As you can see here, Mo was born in the Highland Park neighborhood of Northeast Los Angeles, but moved to the Forest Hill neighborhood of San Francisco at the age of 2. That means he was started to be dedicated to the Church of Scientology, which his parents from. So he attended a liberty school. Then at the ages of 9 and 10, Mo attended a local boarding school located in Mojave Desert. So they sent him to boarding school so that the changes that they would have to make him go through so that the transgenderism would be complete, nobody would be able to know. So probably he's not even in a boarding school. He's probably in a well-trained facility, because I've been to the Mojave Desert. It's like a whole desert out there. They could do a lot of stuff down there you have no clue about. And then when he was old enough, but eventually, see, they keep moving around so you wouldn't know the identity of the person. Does it make sense? They moved back to Northern California. Both his parents were Scientologists by the time he was 12. So it's just a trend that I wanted to show you guys on how the Vatican works, because like I've proved before, Scientologists is just an arm of the Vatican. It's another New Age arm. Same thing with the Mormon religion and all the other false New Age religions. The Vatican always has a hand in all of them. So that's just one of the ramblings I wanted to show you before I move on to something else right now. So let's move on. So the next thing I want to show you guys is that I came up with this article online. It says here, you can pause the video at any point in time and copy out the link and go read up or look up on it. The article here says, "Watch in a Heartbeat, the short film about a boy's heart chasing the guy of his dreams." Now, if you've been on my channel, you should know that I have nothing against people who call themselves homosexuals, as long as you've reached that age in which you can make a decision for yourself. Whatever you do in your house is your problem. But as you can see, sorry, I'm missing my words now because I'm getting a little bit irritated. So let me collect myself for a minute. So as you can see right here, all right, this movie is designed for teens, because if you can see right here, the website here says Teen Vogue, all right? and they're doing an animation, all right, for homosexuality. That means they're promoting to teenagers, all right, people who haven't reached the age in which they can make a decision to say, okay, I want to be a homosexual or not. Because I don't think kids should be exposed at this age. They're not grown. They should reach the age in which they can make the decision on themselves. But now it's like the Vatican is forcing it down their throats that you have to be exposed to things which your mind cannot comprehend at an early age. Still proving the fact, showing you the fact that the Vatican is behind the taking of young children, castrating or mutilating these kids as the case may be, and turning them into products that they can use. So they're forcing it down. This is what I'm trying to show you guys. Where is the decency to let kids be kids anymore right here? There is none. All innocence is taken away. If right from the get-go they are turning an animation, because I grew up watching a lot of animated shows. Even as an adult today, I still watch a lot of animation. But you can see how these people are taking something so innocent, something so nice and loving to children, and turning it into an agenda. I'm trying to show you guys every day that these people are of the devil. They are from Satan himself, the Vatican. I just wanted you guys to see that, and I'll just move on to something else, because this one is just, it's getting a lot when I see this kind of nonsense. It's just gruesome. It's despicable. Just like they acted in the movie Despicable Me 1 and 2, and people laugh about it and don't know that they're actually telling you who they are. Alright, let me move on. So the next thing I want to show you guys is that I got an email from YouTube about a video on a channel. It's called Ivan Ego of World of Dance. Let me actually show you the video itself. Here's the video right here. It says Ivan Ego of World of Dance, transgender transsexual hotel Rwanda Vatican movie setup. Now, when I made this particular video, you guys can go watch it at any point in time. I was thinking of what name to actually call the movie. Sorry, the video, because the video I had to show stuff about Rwanda. I just wanted to say I was thinking of naming it Vatican responsible for Rwandan genocide. I'm like, people might, take that a little bit too hard and may not believe it, because you have to understand that the Vatican, in recent history, the one genocide that has been very, very apparent, I mean, it's mind-boggling. Even the Vatican itself does acknowledge that they had a hand in it. If you watch this video, I put up a lot of links in the description section, which you can go look it up, in which the Pope himself takes responsibility, and says that although they try to make it look like the Vatican just had a part to play, that they were not the instigators, of the Rwandan genocide. But it is the one thing that, everybody, I mean, people who had an interest in it could actually see that this was the Vatican's hand all along, their footprint in the whole Rwandan genocide. So throughout the years, the Vatican can deny a lot of stuff that they've done. Right? They can deny that they started all the wars that have shaped modern history till today, from the French Revolution down to the First World War, Second World War, the Gulf War, and everything else. They can even deny 9/11, that they were the ones who instigated it. There were no planes that flew into the World Trade Center, that it was actually a bomb that they set up to blow up. There were no planes flying in and out. They can deny all that because they have very, very good professional liars who are paid to do this kind of stuff, and they can confuse a lot of people's mind, except for the people who can actually look in details and who have a brain and they can actually put it to work, can actually hold them and say, look, all this thing points to you. So they can deny all that. But the one thing that is so glaring, right, was the Rwandan genocide, because the Pope himself, if you watch this video, you will see that, put up the link there. The Pope himself had to say that they had a part in it, and there were so many other people who were prosecuted for the Rwandan genocide, and they were all Catholic priests and nuns, all of them. So it surprises me that YouTube actually had to send me this message, because I think I mean, all other videos they can slip and slide, but this Rwandan genocide thing is too telling. So they're telling me that. Let me just read the email so you guys can see. It says, "Hi, Tricks of the S-Tray. Thanks for submitting your videos for monetization. We didn't approve your videos for monetization because the content in your videos or video details may not be advertiser friendly." So can you believe that? So they are actually saying that me telling the truth is not advertiser friendly. So we live in such a world today in which evil is good and good is evil. So if I'm telling the truth, then I'm doing evil. All right? So I just want you guys to see that, and please try to watch the Ivan Ego World of Dance Transgender because I mean, it was one of those videos in which I had a very tough time doing because I never featured young children. This one just got to my heart. I felt it, so I had to make the video. But I just wanted to show you that you know, the Vatican is watching our channel. If they can know that they don't want anybody to know anything about this whole Rwanda, because it's not about Ivan Ego. It's because of the genocide in Rwanda, which has the Vatican's dirty, you know, handprints all over it. So that's what I wanted to show you guys to move on to what I wanted to say next. So we now arrive at a 7-minute delusional comment section, and today's feature on the 7-minute delusional comment section happens to be a dude who's called Owen Jackson. I don't know if it's a dude, but I'm just thinking if it's actually a dude, then it's a very effeminate dude. I would sure think this guy is a homosexual, because from the word he's saying, he starts out the sentence by saying, I'm just look at my mouse right now, Owen Jackson. He says, "Oh my God, this video proves you are racist." First of all, it's females who like using that term, "oh my God." A man is never going to say "oh my God." He's going to say an F-U-C-K-O. All right? That's how men talk. Men start by saying "ah," F-U-C-K. I'm sorry for the obscenity in the language, but I'm just trying to keep it real. Now, this dude says "OMG." That sounds like a very effeminate dude. I'm sure when Jackson, I think you're very, very effeminate. I think you're homosexual. All right. So he starts by calling me out a racist on the on the Myth of Whiteness, series. I think I think this is Derek Who, the part 2 or the part 3, I think, of the Myth of Whiteness series. And so my question I have to ask Owen Jackson, because if you can watch from my screen what I just told him, I'm just going to read it to you. Owen Jackson, for someone to be racist, you have to physically or financially hurt someone. I haven't done any, so you don't know what you're saying. This is about truth. So, sorry for my obscenity. So get off my comment section, okay? So I'm trying to make people understand here, because when I make the Myth of Whiteness series, the Vatican has, has clouded the meaning of racism in such a way such that if you call someone a racist, it seems like a pretty much joke. So if someone calls you a name, let's say, for example, they call a black man the N-word, someone's going to say that is racist. That's just name calling. There is no such thing as racism when you're calling someone a name. It might be hurtful in a way, but like I asked Owen Jackson on this particular web page, when has anybody called you a name, let's say any name at all, and automatically it reduced the number of dollars in your bank account at that point in time? It's never happened. But that's what the Vatican wants to make us believe, that name calling is racism. Because for someone to be racist, you have to financially hurt the person. That means, for example, you have to make the person, lose money just because of his ethnicity, as I call it, because there's no such thing as race. It's one human race, and it's all a black race. Or you would have to physically hurt the person. That means you would have to put some sort of bodily harm, on the person for that to be racism. If you're merely just getting your feelings hurt by someone calling you a name, I mean, that's normal. Because the Vatican wants to make you believe that calling someone a name, like maybe the N-word, or a black person calling a white person vice versa in whatsoever derogatory term, is actually racism. It has nothing to do with that. So why can't we just take, if they want to take somebody to court for name calling, why can't they take someone to court for calling someone stupid? I mean, that's derogatory, right? Why can't they do that? So they want to reduce it to such a trivial matter, such that people don't understand the meaning of racism. For racism to happen, for you to for you to be accused of racism, you have to financially hurt the person. The person has to lose money. So my question to Owen Jackson was, if you say I'm racist because I'm making a video, can you show me with proof of fact that I have hurt someone physically, all right, and wounded the person bodily, or made the person lose money because of his or her ethnicity? And this foolish, stupid dude, because I'm actually calling him, he's actually a dude, he's a very stupid one. Owen Jackson now says here, hurtful words damage more than dollars and fists. Can you imagine that? This is a very deluded fellow. A very deluded, effeminate fellow in Owen Jackson. So I ask him, show me an example. Owen Jackson, show me an example of someone calling you a BITCH has changed the amount of dollars in your bank account. So, and I ask him, Owen Jackson, show me an example of someone calling you a BITCH has wounded your skin. I'm not insecure, because he was telling me, he said I was insecure at this point in time. So I was just responding back that I'm not insecure in any way, shape, or form. Then he says, I am a black South African. You're on the wrong continent, dude. I'm sure this dude ain't no black dude at all from the way he sounds. And he's not in the continent of South Africa. He's probably one delusional freak, a feminine freak out here in the United States, trying to make me think like I don't know what I'm saying. So this is how delusional people are. And Owen Jackson, I just want to tell you that, well, I promise him that I'm going to make a video about him, and when I'm done, then I am going to block him from making any more comments on this particular channel. So I'm going to keep my word to that. I'm a man of my word. I always keep my words. So I'll do that to Owen Jackson. So Owen Jackson, if you're listening, I want you to stop watching this channel. I want you to get off it. And don't come back on sub. If you subscribe, I don't want you watching, because I don't need this type of people on here watching videos. I need people who are strong men, real men, okay? Alright, so I'll move on to the next thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is, I just want to share some of my, some knowledge that I think is just my own thoughts on the book of Genesis, so a lot of people can understand what was really going on. So, for example, where I'm going to start is that this, in the beginning of time, when this world was created, and Adam and Eve, two black people, where two black people would actually nappy hair. Some people get offended by the word nappy. I'm sorry, but that's the best way I can explain. Nappy hair in the Garden of Eden, where communicating and living with God. From the book of Genesis, you come to understand that the Bible says that God used to come down in the evenings and walk in the Garden of Eden and stay with Adam. And that God also, when he was creating the whole organisms that we had, would create those organisms and see what Adam would name them, make the names that he would give to each and every one of them. So what I'm trying to explain here is that because when you read the book of Genesis, it can be a little bit confusing for people, because you have to understand that over time, even though the Bible has been translated, it's been corrupted, because Satan and the devil have been hard at work trying to corrupt it. So by the time the Bible is translated, it is translated through some texts which have been changed here and there, because that's why, for example, when you study the book of Genesis, people come to think that the devil is a snake, when he's not. He's actually a human being. So why I'm trying to show you from this particular portion, because I'm looking at the book of Enoch right now, is to show you that in the beginning of time, that angels were meant to serve man. I'm going to read from I'll read this portion. I'll read the chapter 15 of this of the book of Enoch, then I'll come back and look at chapter 7. So let me just show you something over there. So we're in chapter 15, and if you read, it says here, let me show you, hold on a second, let me pull this up. I think I'm in the wrong chapter. Just hold on one quick second. I was in the right chapter. So here's what I want you guys to notice. It says here, all right, If you read from verse 1 of the book of Enoch, chapter 15, you can. I'm going to leave a description or the link to a link in the description section for this particular book of Enoch. It's all on the Myth of Whiteness series. You'll get it. So what I want to show you guys here is from the verse 1. It says, "Then addressing me, he spoke and said, Hear, neither be afraid, O righteous Enoch, the scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. Go say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee to pray for them. You ought to pray for men and not men for you." All right. So that's what I want you guys to note. You ought to pray for men and not men for you. So then I'll go back to chapter 7 now so I can show you what I wanted to show you earlier before. So what was happening in the beginning of time was that angels were out here and they had some sort of service unto man, and so was Satan himself. Because when Satan, when in that place where the Bible says that the serpent was more subtle than all creatures that God had made, the actual rendering of that place, that it would be that Satan was more subtle than all the angelic hosts that God had made. So now that makes you understand when you read the book of Genesis that there were angels serving man, saving Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and so was Satan. So it wasn't a strange thing for Eve to talk to him, because when you study the book of Genesis, sometimes it can get confusing, because the first question you would ask is, if this person, how would Eve be talking to a snake? Wouldn't she be afraid or something? It is strange that a snake is talking, an animal. No, it wasn't a snake. It was a human being. Like I've said before in the Myth of Whiteness series, that spiritual things are not air or ghosts, but spiritual things are physical things. The only difference is like they don't have flesh and blood running through their veins. We have blood, they don't. So for example, when you see the description of Yehoshua or God in the Bible from the book of Daniel, he says his eyes were as flaming fire, but he had two eyes. So if you saw God today, you would see him with one head, two eyes, but his eyes would not look like ours. They would still be eyes, but he says that his eyes were as flaming fire. You can go read up the book of Daniel. I think, let me actually pull up the book of Daniel and show you that particular verse. So actually, the place I wanted to show you guys, I thought it was going to be Daniel chapter 7 and from verse 9, which it says, "I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire." But what I wanted to show you, because I was trying to talk about how the eyes of God look, because he looks like a man. Here it says that his eyes were as a flame of fire. So that's the difference between a physical man and a spiritual man. He has eyes, but it's mostly like the eyes were like a flame of fire. All right, like fire was coming through the eyes. So what I wanted to show you, the reason for sharing that with you is because I want you to understand that in the Garden of Eden, okay, in the Garden of Eden, that at that point in time when Eve was talking with Satan, they were used to having angelic beings work for them, just like I've shown you from the book of Enoch, that it shows here that angels ought to pray for men and men not for angels. So here is what I'm thinking, right? That the angels were busy serving Adam and Eve, including Satan at that point in time. But Satan now, thinking that he was the most beautiful creature that God, because the Bible actually says that he was most subtle than all the angelic hosts that God had made. That's the actual meaning of that portion. Being filled with that beauty, that he shouldn't be serving a man, that man should be serving him, decided to go against the wishes of God, and tempt Eve to take that power. So the reason why I'm showing you all this is because in a particular portion, when you read the book of Enoch, when you read the book of Genesis up to, I think, like the second chapter or third chapter, which it says that the sons of God, that means angels, saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and take wives unto them. In my reading, when I was much more younger, my understanding was that the angels came from heaven, that they sat down in heaven and saw the daughters of men, and then they came down. That has always been my meaning, because If you've been to a lot of the indoctrination centers, which are called Christian churches, right? They teach you that kind of stuff, that the angels came down from heaven, but they were already here. They were with Eve in the Garden of Eden. Does it make sense? So, because when you read here in the book of Enoch, it says, now I'm going to read this particular portion so you can understand. It says, it happened after the sons of men had multiplied in those days that daughters were born to them elegant and beautiful. That means there were still angelic beings around when all this, so they were all there still, even after the fall of man, and man had been chased away from the Garden of Eden, and Satan had been cursed by God, that God was going to take care of him later. And when the angels, the sons of heaven, beheld them, right? Beheld them, meaning that they were amongst them. They didn't just come on to the scene. They became enamored of them, saying to each other, come, let us select for ourselves wives from the progeny of men, and let us beget children. Okay? So when you actually study the book of Enoch, you will see that these angels were amongst men and taught them all the arts of sorceries and warfare and everything else. I advise that you should read the book of Enoch, and you'll understand a lot of that. So that's just what I wanted to share with you, and then I'm gonna move on and switch gears now to starting to fill in some fine details on the myth of whiteness, which I did miss. I hope that this should be the last part. I think because the aim of this channel is always to show you all the so-called tricks of the trade of deceiving people, all right, which the Vatican has always used to play mind games and fool you guys and control your thoughts and control you. So the aim is always to expose everything so you can have a full knowledge, so that you won't be you won't be confused, all right? So I'll switch gears now to talking about a little bit of what I want to say, and then I'll go on to show you what I did miss on the myth of whiteness, which I'm covering on this part 5. All right. So to lay a foundation for what I'm going to say next, I want to use a particular Bible portion so you guys can understand what I'm saying, and it's taken from Leviticus chapter number 18. And we're reading from verse 8. Now, if you read the whole of chapter 18, let's say from verse number 7, it's talking about sexual relationships between families, that families not ought to have sexual relationships. So why am I laying this particular foundation? Because I'm going to read something from in which the Vatican had used over a number of time to make people's consciences who were like, say, killing aboriginal people around the world who are black folk, not to have any conscience, to think that they are actually doing something right. So that's why I'm laying this particular foundation, because it's on the myth of whiteness. I want to conclude all this. So the key to what I'm going to say next lies in this particular verse, which it says, the nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. So I want you to understand that when the Bible talks about nakedness, it's talking about relations towards a woman. All right? Relations towards a woman that a man not ought to do. Okay? So I want you to understand that. So when the Bible talks about thou shalt not uncover nakedness, it's talking about relations towards a woman in the family. That's considered family. So with that, I move over to Genesis chapter number 9, and I'm reading from verse 20. Now, if you've read this particular portion for a long time, maybe earlier on, this is what the Vatican had used to make the people that they would send out, the white supremacist Vatican that would send out to do their dirty job of killing aboriginal people or putting them up as slaves or for any sort of reasons. Now, they use this particular portion of the Bible to say that God caused Ham, that Ham was the black son of Noah, that Shem and Japheth were white, and that Ham was cursed, and that's the reason why he became black. Okay, so I want you guys to take note of that. So when you read this portion, for a lot of people who read this portion, they don't seem to understand, because when I used to read it, I didn't understand it either. So I'm just going to read it, then I'm going to explain what really happens. So now it says here from verse number 20, if you guys follow me, it says, and Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. So the Bible says here that Noah was uncovered within his tent. Noah was drunk and uncovered within his tent. So let's keep reading. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. Okay? Keep on following. And it says, and Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, that they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah woke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. Now, people, you have to notice something very particular about that, because the White Vatican uses this particular portion of the Bible, has been using it for years, that Ham was cursed, all right? And so that black people are actually the children of Ham, which is far, far, far from the truth, okay? As I've proven up to this point, you all know that we are all black. It doesn't matter if you're light skin or long hair, that we are all black, that white people are just albinos, which means they've lost the color of being black. That's just what it is, okay? So now, if you read up to this point, now you would now understand that if it's more like you have let's say you have two brothers named Jack and John, right? And Jack does something, but John gets cursed. Because if you can see here, the curse was not on Ham at all. It was passed on to Canaan. Why? And if you read in the genealogy of the Bible, you find out that Canaan was Ham's son. So why would Noah curse Canaan, his own son? The son of Ham, and not Ham himself. Does it make sense? So I want you guys to put your brain to work now, because if you can see here that Canaan was cursed for an act that Ham did. A son, his son was called, Ham's son was cursed for an act that his father did. He had no idea about it. So what do you think actually happened here? So remember, I had given you the key to understanding this portion of the Bible, that nakedness, when the Bible says, the nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover, it is thy nakedness. All right? It is thy father's nakedness. Sorry to say. So now let me explain this portion to you so you can understand better what really happened. And here's my take on it. All right? So I'm thinking here that Noah had three sons named Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And all these three sons, all right, I think that their mother died. All right? I think there was one mother who gave birth to Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Hear me out. The Bible doesn't say so, but from reading from this portion, I can guarantee you that's what happened. So at the time when Noah came into the ark with his three sons, he had taken another wife. Okay? And this wife was in no way the mother of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay? So what happened here was that Noah, let me tell you a story now so you can understand, that Noah was drinking, right? And because he was drinking, because you have to understand, when a man is drunk, he doesn't really remember where his wife's at. He's probably going to be sleeping somewhere because he's totally drunk. So Noah is drunk. So let me read the story so you guys understand what happened. It says, and Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. That means Noah was drunk, uncovered in his tent. He did not know where he was at. So remember, okay, Noah is drunk. So what happened here? And Ham, now remember what the Bible, now follow me here, says now, and Ham, the father of Canaan, right? The Bible specifically makes you know that Ham was the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his brethren outside. Without just means outside. So what did Ham actually do? Ham saw the nakedness of his father, and remember the key here, the nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover, it is thy father's nakedness. So what happened here was that Ham did not see his father naked, rather he saw the wife of his father naked. So that means here that Ham slept with Noah's wife. Okay? Because Noah was drunk and he told his brethren outside what he had did, that he had slept with his father's wife. So who, if Canaan is the son of Ham, who do you think gave birth to Canaan? It would be Noah's wife that Ham, the son of Noah, slept with. So that's why Noah caused Canaan, because Canaan was the product of that act that Ham did with Noah's wife. Does it make sense? So why am I reading all this to you guys? I'm trying to make you understand that this has no connection at all with the lie that the Vatican has told for years, for slaughtering, the white supremacist Vatican has told for years, for slaughtering black people all the world and making the people who did it not to have a conscience about doing it. I'm telling them that they're doing it right because Ham was cursed of God. So if you're killing a black man, that you're doing God service. Okay? So that's why I'm showing you all this, to understand the story, so you could understand that the nakedness of Noah here was talking about Noah's wife, and that Ham slept with Noah's wife, and that Noah's wife was not the mothers of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, in my understanding from reading this particular portion. And the reason why Canaan was cursed was because he was the product of that act that Ham did with Noah's wife, the son that was birthed out, and that's why Noah caused Canaan. Okay? So that's just what I wanted to show you before I move on to something else, just to we're still in the myth of whiteness. Okay? So this article that I'm showing you guys came out sometime in the year of, I think it was on 6th November 2014. You can pause the video right here and copy out the link right there and go read it. And it talks about the how a black woman in Brazil gave birth to albino children. Now, I've already covered the part of myth of whiteness before to show you that the Brazilians were actually black people with afro or nappy hair, as the case may be. Now, it says, the story here says, my amazing albino family Brazilian mother gives birth to 3 albino children while their 3 siblings are black. Okay, so scrolling down into this particular page, you can see right here, all right, because it talks about, you can see the family right here. You can see this white children and the black kids here, and the father and the mother right there. And let me just scroll down so you can actually see that the mother right here carries a trait of albinism. Now, how do I know that the mother carries a trait of albinism? Because even the article says that is because the hair here is straight, but she's still black. Okay? So I just wanted to show you, because nature always reproduces itself. So you should not come under any illusion, because I don't want white people to think they're any different from black folk. It's just that you have albinism. That's all it is. Okay? So that's why I'm hampering, because I want to make sure that people understand that we are all black and God created us, so that the Vatican cannot be hiding under a cloak of racism to perpetrate evil against black aboriginal people around the world and degrade black people as much as they can, just because they are using white people to keep themselves in power. So that's why I'm doing all this. So if you scroll through this article, let me see if I can actually read the portion where she says that she carries a trait, because you can see right here, these are her kids. She's a black woman. Okay, she's all black. And you can see that these children here would pass for any white person around the world because they have blonde hair as usual. Okay, so let me show you that particular, if I can find a particular portion in this article to show you that she carries, it is agreed that the mother carries a gene of albinism. So here is the portion in the article that actually says that the doctors explained to the mother that she carries a gene of albinism. All right, and so each time we had a child, there was 1 in a 4 chance the child would have it. But just by, like I said, albinism gets in the hair, you know, and the only way the next generation can avoid having straight hairs to make sure that they marry a real black person with nappy hair. As you can see right here, the kids all look like any white child that you would find. but the mother is black. So nature always reproduces itself. So people should not fall under any illusions that their being white are different. It's just the Vatican has created that as a designation to keep itself in power and to perpetrate racism as much as they can. Because once we come to an understanding that we are all black, all right, no matter what you are, then you can easily find who your problem is. You can easily find the reason. You can actually point a hand at the target of the world's problem. So that's why I keep showing you. You can see the kids here all look white and the child is black. This one too has a trait of albinism because the hair is straight, even though he's black. He's a black kid with white siblings. And here is the and here are there again, very clear. As you can see, they look like any white kid you would see in today's world, all right, or any white person. It's just albinism. That's all it is. There is nothing, so it's got nothing to do with Neanderthals, because I already explained that before. So that's just what I wanted to show you guys on the myth of racism. And then I'm gonna switch. There's something else I have to show you guys, which is very, very pertinent, because the Vatican is full of so many tricks. Now, one of the things that they like doing, because they use this particular genealogy tracing to actually keep the myth of racism alive. And it's not just for black folk, it's also for white folk. Because they set up all this genealogy and ancestry.com and all that, and say trace your genealogy, because they want people to actually believe in the myth of whiteness, all right? Or try to make, white people actually believe that they come from, their origins are from Europe, all right? Just to label that in their mind, or to make black people in the Americas, all right, think that they all came from Africa. So they pull up all these fake genealogy, websites and centers and hospitals to make that happen. Can you see how crazy these people are? You're feeding off your ignorance. You're spending money making them rich, right? For what they did to you. They're making everybody believe that they'll make the white folk believe they're European, then they make everybody else who is black to believe they all came from Africa, and they set up all these fake genealogy websites. I'm looking at one of them right now. It's called 23andMe. If you ever use any of these genealogy websites, you have to feel very sorry for yourself, because they actually lie to you, because people don't put their brain to work. Because you have to understand, if you're trying to trace someone's genealogy, you have to have the person that you're tracing the DNA. All right? So that means you have to have the DNA of a father and the DNA of a child to make a match. So tell me when these people went around the world, all right? Because one of the lies they're going to tell you is, for example, that if you come from a certain, let's say, place in the world, let's say a certain country or a certain area, that all these people will tend to have the same DNA. That's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. So where did they go around? The question you have to ask them, where did they go around sampling all the DNAs of everybody in a particular area? Then you just know right there and there that you've been set up and you've been lied to. So I'm showing you some of the websites that, if you've ever been here, they have been telling you a lot of lies. This one is called 23andMe. It says a home-based saliva collection kit is all you need to send your DNA to the lab. We have made this process as simple as possible. This is all a fraud. Please don't go that. And this one is called Helix.com. This one actually tells you that they can discover ancient origins going back as far as hundreds of thousands of years, and learn how much of a Neanderthal you really are. I just have to laugh, because if people actually believe it, this is sickening. All right, Helix.com. Neanderthal. This is for white folk, so they can actually believe that they're really different from black folk. It's just hilarious when I look at it right now. I'm just laughing. Then Ancestry.com. You guys know Ancestry.com already says discover what makes you uniquely, uncover your ethnic mix, distant relatives, and even new ancestors with Ancestry DNA. I'm sorry if I'm laughing. It's just hilarious at the games that the Vatican can play and mind fool people, because you're not thinking with your brain. Here's another one. It says myheritage.com. It says my heritage and yours. Explore the lives of your ancestors and discover your family's history. This is some nonsense. This is totally nonsense. Uncover your ethnic origins and find new relatives with a simple DNA test. They probably set all this thing up and they give you a name of somebody who you think is an actual relative, but he has no connection. The Vatican has so many tricks and is making money off of this. Let's go to another one here. It says genealogy.com. Welcome to genealogy.com. It's a source for family history buffs to find genealogical research, original, posted in Gen Forum and our most popular genealogy articles. Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. And there's another one called myfamilysearch.com. These are all fake, racist, DNA Vatican websites just to fool you guys. Ancestry.com. Then there's another one that says yeah, familytreedna.com. Trace your maternal ancestry with mtDNA. And you know they'll make Oprah. You know, Oprah will put up a TV, or I think I've watched one with what was his name, George Lopez. And he was trying to trace the ancestry of this lady. What's this lady's name called? She was the lady in Fantastic Four. I can't recall her name right now. She wants to make a better joke that she's a transgender when she's not. There's so many tricks this guys play. And then there's this one called legal genealogist, you know, says well, you guys can go look it up. You can pause the video and go look it up. And there's another one here, archives.com. Discover your family history quickly and simply. Search more than 4.8 billion photos, newspapers, and vital records to information about your ancestors. You know, keeping the myth of racism alive and making white folk actually believe, you know, that you're different, that they came from Europe and everybody else that's black came from Africa. It's just some nonsense. DNAancestryproject.com, that's another one. And then you have Easy at Home DNA. This one is from homedna.com. The list goes on and on, but these are just the ones I just wanted to show you that you guys shouldn't fall for this, all right? If you don't have the DNA sample of your father, you can trace your DNA. That's just fact. That's just true science fact. Don't fall for all this nonsense or crap. Alright? If you want to know who your real father is, come to God Almighty. His name is Yehosha. It's as simple as that. So with that, let's switch gears to the feature of today, which happens to be Skrillex. So as usual, I'm gonna play a clip for you to know where a female's hip is at. Standard how a female gets and fits into clothes anywhere in the world. Without this measurement of a female hip below the crotch, a woman can't fit into clothes because she just wouldn't fit. The clothes wouldn't pass through. So I play the clip. So here's a female right here. As you can see, she's spreading downwards, and the widest point is always gonna be her hip just below her crotch, so that she can have easy childbirth, all right, and she can be able to have a flexible limbs when she's giving birth. So the tape's gonna go around, so you know where a female's hip is usually at. As you can see, the tape goes round and is just below her crotch. So she's gonna turn around so you can see from the back where the hip is at. Now the reason why the hip is this way, why it's slightly above the bum line but below the crotch, is because a female pelvis is tilted forward. So if you tilt something forward, it's not going to be straight, so there's going to be a slight angle of allowance. Otherwise it would just line up with the butt line. So as you can see right there, the widest point is slightly above the bum line but below the crotch. So now I move on to our document. So here is a document. This is document advice that you should have if you're really interested in transgenders. Even though we feature a lot of them, the channel is not about transgenders. As you can see, there is a woman to my left, and she has an arch in her back. The arch is always going to be shaped like a C or an S, depending on where you draw it. Now there is a man to my right, and a man don't have arches in their back. A man's back is straight. If a man's back wants to arch, it's going to arch outside like a D, the shape of the capital letter D, or it's going to be arched like a P, all right? It's going to arch outside, never inside. As you can see right here, it's arched outside shaped like a D, all right? A female is going to be arched inside shaped like a C, all right? So let me scroll down the document, which I think that everybody should have. So a woman's back is always going to arch more than that of a man. All right, if a woman arches her back outwards, it's going to arch much more that it looks like a humpback. If she arches it inwards, like this lady in my picture right here, it's going to arch much more that it looks like a C inside, a C-shaped arch. So I scrolled to the document to show you that size doesn't really matter. And also, one thing of note is that because a female's pubic arch is wider than that of a man, that causes the Q angle of a female to be much more acute. So the Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee. It's much more acute for a female than for a man because of a wide pubic arch that a female has. I scroll further down into the document to show you that size doesn't really matter, that a woman will always have an arch in her back no matter her size, whether she's big, small, tiny, or fat. So here it is, a small lady to my right, arch in the back, pelvis tilted forward so a child can stay in the womb. A big lady to my left, arch in the back, pelvis tilted forward. A muscular female, arch in the back. Doesn't matter. She has muscles, she's strong, she's big, she's fat, arch in the back. Arch in the back. Without an arch in the back, you can't be a woman. Let me tell you why. The pelvis is tilted forward. So automatically you have an arch in your back because the pelvis is tilted forward. It's because the arch in the spine has to curve towards the tilted pelvis. And also a woman's spine is much more flexible than that of a man, so she can carry the weight of children. So we move over to Skrillex now to show you that this woman has been lying to us for a very long time, trying to tell us that it's a dude when it's actually female. So as you can see right here, this Q angle right here, this is Skrillex hips right here. This Q angle is way too acute to be the Q angle of a man. This is the Q angle of a female. Skrillex is a woman. Some more pictures. Here is Skrillex again. And she can't hide the arch in her back no matter what she wears. Can you see that? I'm blowing up the picture so as much as you can so you can see. Even through the clothes. Now they've mutilated this child, right? Because if you could, because I read the page to show you the wiki page that she was probably given to whatsoever cause that the Vatican designed him for and designed her for, and this is actually could be to be a producer and the leading person in the music scene. Who knows what kind of music these people make, because you don't know if they've got some demonic activity going on, or they've been given to demons, or is inhabited by demons, because it's all strange what the Vatican does. But nevertheless, I want you to see the arch in the back right there. It's undeniable that Skrillex is a woman. Don't worry about the face and the bad way they want to make it look like a bad boy with the earrings, and too much testosterone has given it some let's say some sort of like a shave or aftershave lines and everything else. But this is a woman, been lying to us for years. Here's another picture. As you can see, the way this thing is sitting is not sitting like a man, because the pubic arch right there is way too wide. Okay, this is a woman sitting, not a man. The pubic arch is way too wide. That's why the legs are so much farther apart, because this is a woman. Another picture. And look at Skrillex right here. Would you say that you're looking at a dude? Can you still see the Q angle right there? It's too acute. That's the Q angle of a female. Look at that. I pity this poor child because, well, he's not a child right now, but I know that they're a victim as well. But in the way I determine victimhood, if you're not speaking out, then you're part of the problem. So that's the way I see it. So this is a female right there. You can still see the hourglass figure and the Q angle right there. That's the Q angle of a woman. Another picture. And here are some of the professional liars who keep this thing going working for the Vatican. I don't know what this black dude's name is, but he's always on the red carpet or something on Fuse TV. I forgot it. I used to watch Fuse TV and I know this dude. He's part of the cabal, lower strata of the Illuminati, because the Vatican is the Illuminati and they're lying to you. He's painting the false picture to you that you're actually talking to a dude. That's why it's got all this, always covered up with sunglasses and looking strange, because they're trying to hide the fact that this is a woman. All right, some more pictures. So that's why you can't trust anybody on TV. Like I've told you guys before, if I ever show my face on anything and I tell you this is tricks of the trade, you should know that I'm no longer working in your best interest anymore. You should stop listening to me and don't believe a word I tell you. All right? Okay, let's move on. Another picture. And here is how they lie to, children around the world and teenagers around the world. Skrillex is on Rolling Stone right here. And they're trying to paint the picture to you that this is a woman, but you can still see a man. Sorry, they're trying to paint the picture to you that is a man, but it's a woman. You can see the pubic arch is way too wide, because if a woman spreads her legs, she's going to spread it much more than a man. Even from the stands, you can see the Q angle is still telling that I am a woman. Skrillex, tell the truth. You're a female. Let's keep going. And here's another picture. And look at that. Can you see the widest point on this hip right here? That's the crotch. It's below it. And look at the Q angle. Now, like I always tell you, when the Vatican is trying to hide stuff, they make the picture blurry. They put it in a plain background so they can Photoshop and play with the lighting and effects and tell you all sorts of lies with it. So that's why this picture is this way. But you can't deny the hips right here. The widest point, like I said, is still sticking out. That's the crotch. Below the crotch, you can see the Q angle. All right, Q angle, Q angle. See the hourglass figure of the hips right there? That you're looking at a female. It's been lying to you for years, telling you it's male when it's a woman. Some more pictures. That's why you can't trust anybody you see on TV. Can you see this? This is Missy Elliott. If Missy Elliott can tell you that Skrillex is a woman, do you think that she's working in your own best interest? What kind of music is she producing for your kids to listen to if you have kids? And this is Diplo. Diplo is always with Skrillex. So I'm thinking that Diplo could be the handler of this woman right here. All right, some more pictures. And here is Justin Bieber. Now, people always ask me, Tricks of the Trade, can you make a video on Justin Bieber? Because Justin Bieber is a woman. But the reason why I don't want to make a video on Justin Bieber is because I think she's too much of an easy target. I like trying to make people see those targets that they've never thought that they never ever paid attention, could never ever imagine, the hidden ones that you have no clue about. That these are actually transgendered people on your TV, in your faces, in your living room, in your shopping malls, or anything or anywhere else. So Skrillex is a woman. Justin Bieber is a female too, and that's Diplo again. Like I said, I think Diplo is the handler of Skrillex, because wherever I see Skrillex, I see Diplo. Another picture. Here's another picture with Miguel. You guys know Miguel, right? He sings, and I hope he's a he, because I haven't actually looked up on him to see if he's actually different. But if Miguel can tell you that Skrillex is a woman, what do you think he's telling you? Is he telling you the truth? Is he worthy of the money that you spend on listening to his music? Someone who's not telling you the truth. That's why you can't trust anybody on TV or make any role models of them, because they are all paid liars and deceivers, professional paid liars and deceivers of the Vatican. Another picture. And here is Skrillex with Sway in the Morning, that whole crew, Shade 45, which has Eminem on it. You can't make role models of any of these people. If Sway can't tell you that Skrillex is female, because they are all paid professional liars, the lower strata of the Illuminati. So when they say that celebrities are in the Illuminati, you're actually correct. But they're in the lower strata. They don't even know who's boss, because they are hiding it from them. They all work for the Vatican. They have no clue, but they are getting paid, and they love keeping secrets from you. So that's why you can't make any role models you hear or see on TV or radio or social media or public media, whatever the case might be, because they're all professional liars. Sway in the Morning been telling you lies that Skrillex is a dude. Another picture. And here's another picture of Skrillex. Look at that face. Is that the face of a dude? No. That's the face of a woman on testosterone. Another picture. And look at Skrillex again. You can still see the hourly glass figure on this thing. Alright? Faking to you that it's a man when it's woman. Goodness gracious. Okay. Another picture. And that's Skrillex again. Is that the face of a man or the face of a woman? Take a good look at it. Let me try to blow this up so you can see. That is the face of a female. Alright, some more pictures. And that's Skrillex again. As you can still see it, the hourglass figure can't hide, even through clothes. You can see this dude right here is a straight line. There's no hourglass figure. I think they're wearing the same t-shirt. Straight. But you can see that this thing is spreading because it's a woman. See that? Spreading all around. Hourglass figure. Hourglass figure of female. Some more pictures. And this is Skrillex with Diplo again, like I said. Everywhere I see Skrillex, I see Diplo. And who's there? Right there. You know that. That's Little John. Can you guys trust Little John with your kids? Knowing that he's been telling you lies? He's never told you the truth that Skrillex is a woman? They're all paid professional liars of the lower strata of the Illuminati. And so that's it. So that's the last picture I have on this. I hope you learned something today. And that ends the Myth of Whiteness Part 5. I hope I do not have a Part 6, but if there is something I haven't recalled at this point in time, and I think that you guys should know, then I'll make it happen. But for now, that's it. So if you learned something, that's great. And for those ridiculous agents, they should know by now that I can get bullied. Alright? Don't bully me with your comments. It's not going to work. I'm not going to have a bad day because of any of your comments. If I'm sleeping, I sleep pretty good. I'm not worried about you all. But I'm here for those who seek the truth, who want to understand the world. And I want them to understand the world because I came to understanding because I was looking for the truth. So with that, I leave you with these words with all sincerity. I leave you with these words. And I just don't say it, but it should make meaning to you. Look with your eyes and see with your brain. Thanks and bye-bye.